That distinct, sharp beep from the gate scanner, a sound that typically signals passage, progress, the beginning of a journey, instead often marks a sudden, abrupt halt for too many hopeful travelers. On a Tuesday morning, October 24, 2023, at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, I witnessed a young man named Mark Thompson encounter that particular, disheartening sound firsthand. He was 21 years old, embarking on his very first solo international trip to London with Delta Airlines, and his initial confidence, the kind you only possess before real-world aviation challenges hit, evaporated right there at Gate 4. His mobile boarding pass, a marvel of modern convenience, simply refused to register. Brenda Miller, the Delta gate agent, a seasoned professional who'd seen every permutation of travel snafu, looked up from her screen, a hint of professional concern already etching her features. Her inquiry was direct. "Sir, our passenger name record system is flagging an inconsistency with your visa status for entry into the United Kingdom." Mark, genuinely puzzled, quickly produced his printed e-visa approval, a document he clearly believed was his golden ticket. "But I have it right here," he insisted, holding up the paper. He'd followed the advice from some online social media group, a common, yet often misguided, source of travel hacks, which assured him that a digital approval, or a printout of one, was perfectly adequate for transit. Here's where the critical failure lies, and it's a mistake I see far too often. International aviation security protocols and bilateral agreements between sovereign nations are not suggestions. They are ironclad requirements. The United Kingdom, like many countries, mandates a physical visa stamp within a passport or a specifically issued visa document for certain nationalities, regardless of an email approval. Mark's belief ignored the very essence of verifiable entry authorization. The airline's departure control system, or DCS, the robust network that handles everything from check-in to final boarding, detected this glaring discrepancy. It's designed to prevent carriers from boarding passengers who lack the necessary documentation, saving both the traveler and the airline immense headaches down the line, including potential fines and repatriation costs. The system wasn't being difficult. It was simply following explicit rules. Without that physical visa stamp, his journey was over before it began. It's a harsh lesson. A digital approval does not equate to a physical visa. Still reeling from the gate refusal, Mark found himself rerouted to Terminal North, his mind racing through missed connections and canceled plans. He now faced a rebooking nightmare, but his day wasn't finished throwing curveballs. During the mandatory security screening at the Transportation Security Administration checkpoint, the X-ray machine emitted a distinct, insistent whine, followed by an immediate, authoritative chime. This isn't a gentle suggestion. It's a procedural alert for a detected anomaly. Mark had, against all standard regulations, attempted to carry a 12-ounce bottle of artisanal coffee in his carry-on luggage. He claimed its special value warranted an exemption. The TSA agent, unfazed by his plea, politely but firmly explained that any liquid, aerosol, or gel exceeding 3.4 ounces is strictly prohibited in carry-on bags. This is the cornerstone of the TSA's 311 rule. 3.4-ounce containers or less, 1 quart-sized bag, 1 bag per passenger. This isn't arbitrary. It's a direct result of historical security incidents. Even the most exquisite coffee won't bypass a federal regulation designed for collective safety. The agent had to confiscate the item, another tangible loss for Mark. The consequences for Mark were significant. His flight to London was, of course, missed. He incurred substantial rebooking fees totaling over $900, an unexpected hit that could have been entirely avoided. To make matters worse, he was forced into a mandatory overnight stay in Atlanta, a city he hadn't planned to visit, adding to his expenses and frustration. So, how does one avoid such a cascade of preventable failures? It boils down to diligence and trusting official channels, not anecdotal online advice. First, meticulously cross-reference your destination's official government travel advisories. Go directly to the source, the embassy website, the Department of State. Second, always consult your airline's specific international travel documentation requirements. They have a vested interest in your compliance and a clear understanding of the regulations. Third, when it comes to security, never assume. The TSA's 311 rule for liquids is universally applied. If it doesn't fit the criteria, check it or leave it behind. This isn't about scaring you. It's about empowering you with knowledge. Those who invest a little time in understanding the rules simply don't face these kinds of problems. Would you know the difference between a digital approval and a physical visa stamp? Do you always check official sources for travel advisories before you go? Preparing correctly means you breeze through processes, avoiding the beeps, the delays, and the unexpected $900 surprises. Stay informed, stay compliant, and your next journey will be smooth sailing. Let me be blunt. Those minor annoyances you wave off in a crowded airport, many aren't just part of the journey. They're entirely avoidable, and they often signal bigger issues. As an aviation security inspector, I've seen firsthand how small oversights can snowball. Consider a brisk Saturday afternoon, the 11th of November, 2023, at Denver International Airport. United Airlines Flight 742 to Chicago was boarding from gate B35, and the gate area was a churning tide of passengers, packed shoulder to shoulder. Into this shared space stepped Sarah and David Miller with their two young children, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old named Liam. And that's precisely where the disruptions began. Now, I've witnessed every imaginable behavior, but some are universal signals of impending chaos. Liam, the older child, was permitted to commandeer no fewer than 3 gate area seats, sprawling with his toys and snacks, while his parents were, let's just say, completely disengaged. If you were nearby, you might have noticed the faint, sweet smell of spilled fruit juice from a dropped pouch slowly permeating the air around gate B35. It wasn't a fire hazard, of course, but it was a clear sign of disregard. This wasn't a direct violation of any Federal Air Carrier Access Act rules, no, but it actively compromised the efficient flow of the entire airport management system and, more importantly, passenger comfort. That gate area, my friends, is a shared resource, not your family's personal playpen. Seasoned travelers understand this. They know these spaces demand collective respect. The Millers' lack of proactive engagement with their children, unfortunately, set the stage for a tense boarding sequence, completely disrupting the established zone-based boarding process designed to get everyone seated efficiently. Then they were on board, a Boeing 737. You'd think the confined space of an aircraft cabin would naturally encourage more mindful behavior, but often it has the opposite effect. Once the aircraft reached cruising altitude, Liam's previous antics escalated. Sarah permitted him to repeatedly kick the seat in front of them. Imagine, if you will, being Olivia Thompson, a business executive trying to prepare for an important meeting, only to feel a rhythmic thumping on the back of your seat. Olivia, displaying admirable patience, made polite requests for the behavior to stop, but it persisted. Then David, perhaps trying to avoid a further confrontation, decided to retrieve something from an overhead bin a full 2 rows forward of their assigned seating. Do you see the problem here? This isn't just a minor inconvenience. It's a direct violation of aircraft cabin stowage procedures and causes a cascade effect. That distinct, sharp click of the bin latch reverberated through what was otherwise a relatively quiet cabin, drawing attention to a process already delayed. Other passengers in the rows adjacent to his intended bin were now held up from stowing their own carry-ons, causing a bottleneck in the aisle, all while the flight attendants were attempting to complete their safety checks and service preparations. Ultimately, a flight attendant had to intervene, which, let me tell you, is never ideal. That's precious crew time diverted from critical safety duties and passenger service. Their actions, or rather their inactions, resulted in a formal incident report filed post-flight. While no direct fines were levied, the incident was logged, a permanent black mark on their travel record, so to speak. It serves as a stark reminder of those unwritten rules, that crucial social contract for shared spaces, governing personal boundaries and noise levels. These aren't abstract concepts. They are absolutely essential for collective peace and operational efficiency. So, how do we avoid such scenarios? It's not about stifling children. It's about meticulous preparation and unwavering respect. First, parents must meticulously plan entertainment that fits entirely within their designated seat area. I'm talking tablets with noise-canceling headphones, quiet activity books, or engaging stories. Second, consistently monitor your children's behavior. An occasional lapse is one thing, but allowing continuous disruption is another entirely. Third, view the aircraft cabin and gate area as an extension of your own home. A home, mind you, with hundreds of unexpected guests, all with their own timelines and comfort expectations. Always be mindful of the shared nature of these environments. Here's the simple truth. Passengers who invest just a little time in understanding and respecting these fundamental rules never encounter these types of problems. They thrive in these environments. Would you know how to keep your children entertained quietly on a long flight? Do you consider the ripple effect of your family's actions on everyone else around you? Proper preparation means you don't just avoid the chaos, you glide through these processes. You bypass the disruptions, the uncomfortable interventions, and those incident reports that follow you. It's about more than avoiding trouble. It's about claiming a seamless, stress-free journey. Stay informed, stay proactive, stay respectful. Do this, and your next journey won't just be smooth sailing for you. It will be a better experience for everyone on board, a testament to thoughtful travel. It's a peculiar thing, the way a single digital ping can unravel hundreds of meticulously laid plans, yet for a select few, it simply confirms the wisdom of preparation. I witnessed this firsthand on a crisp Monday morning, January 15, 2024, at Los Angeles International Airport, known to most as LAX. The terminal pulsed with its usual pre-dawn energy, a low roar of anticipation and hurried footsteps filling the vast space. Eleanor Vance, a 45-year-old software architect, stood near the American Airlines check-in kiosks. She was headed for Dallas, and her flight AA 1255 was scheduled to depart soon. Just as she was about to turn towards the security checkpoint, a quiet vibration from her smartphone cut through the ambient noise. The screen flashed a stark message. Flight AA 1255 to DFW canceled due to unforeseen mechanical issue. Across the vast hall, a collective sigh, almost a physical ripple of frustration, spread like a wave. Faces crumpled, conversations ceased, and a low murmur of confused complaints began to rise. Yet, Eleanor remained utterly unfazed. Her composure, in that moment of widespread dismay, was striking. It wasn't a lack of concern, but rather the quiet confidence of someone who had already considered and mitigated this exact scenario. Let me assure you, her calmness wasn't accidental. It stemmed from meticulous, almost forensic preparation. Days before her trip, Eleanor had subscribed to multiple flight tracking applications, including industry leader FlightAware and the airline's own robust mobile app. She wasn't merely tracking, she was monitoring both her outbound and any potential connecting flights with the diligence of a seasoned air traffic controller. Beyond the technology, she had taken the critical step of familiarizing herself with the Department of Transportation's Consumer Protection Regulations, specifically DOT Part 260, which directly addresses flight cancellations. She also understood American Airlines' specific Schedule Irregularity Management, or SIM protocols. The faint hum of the large display boards cycling through flight statuses was a familiar, predictable backdrop to her calculated readiness. While the majority of passengers instinctively surged towards the already overwhelmed customer service desks, forming lines that snaked back into the concourse, Eleanor made a different move. Before 5 minutes had even passed after the cancellation announcement, while many were still processing the news, she had bypassed the physical queue entirely. She immediately activated her pre-saved contact for American Airlines' dedicated A-Advantage Executive Platinum line, a strategic advantage for elite status holders. The connection was almost instantaneous. On the call, she didn't just voice her complaint. She clearly articulated her situation, calmly cited her understanding of her rights under DOT 260, and, crucially, proposed an alternative routing. She had already identified this viable option through her flight tracking app, a connection through Phoenix on a code-share partner, arriving only 1 hour later than her original itinerary. This wasn't guesswork. It was a pre-researched, data-driven solution. The agent, accessing the airline's Operational Control Center, or OCC data, noted Eleanor's proactive solution was not only feasible, but remarkably efficient. I could almost hear the swift, confident keystrokes of the reservation agent confirming her rebooking. Eleanor didn't just secure a new flight with minimal delay. She also received a $500 travel voucher as compensation for her inconvenience, a benefit many unaware passengers would have simply missed, swallowed by the chaos and their own lack of informed advocacy. Her actions underscored a powerful truth about modern air travel. Informed preparation doesn't just avoid problems, it creates advantage. This is the power of knowing the game. It transforms you from a victim of circumstance into a strategic navigator. So, how can you replicate Eleanor's success and turn potential travel chaos into a manageable detour, or even an advantage? Let me give you your practical checklist for navigating cancellations. First, track proactively. Utilize flight tracking applications such as FlightAware or your airline's dedicated mobile application from the moment you book until your plane departs. Stay several steps ahead. Second, know your rights. Familiarize yourself with the Department of Transportation's passenger protection regulations. Key regulations like DOT Part 250 for tarmac delays and DOT Part 260 for cancellations are your strongest allies. Third, understand airline-specific policies. Every airline has its own irregular operations policies. Take a few minutes to review your carrier's specific Schedule Irregularity Management, or SIM, protocols. Fourth, leverage premium service lines. If you possess elite status, always use dedicated customer service lines. These are designed for faster, more personalized assistance when time is critical. Fifth, pre-identify alternatives. Before you even contact the airline, research alternative flights or routings that align with your schedule and destination. This empowers you to propose solutions, not just problems. Sixth, document everything. Keep screenshots of cancellation notices, new booking confirmations, and any compensation offers. Digital records are undeniable proof. Those who invest a little time in understanding and respecting these rules don't just sidestep problems, they master the game. You see, those who prepare aren't victims of circumstance. They are strategic navigators, turning potential travel chaos into a manageable detour, even an advantage. That's how you truly own your journey.